right intention, of renunciation, free from craving, of goodwill, free from aversion, of compassion, free from cruelty. Morning, friends. So, going through the Noble Eightfold Path, we are up to Samma Sankappo, right thought. So, this part of the Noble Eightfold Path is working with our mind, working with the thoughts that arise. Thoughts of nekkhamma, translated here as renunciation. It should be understood that this is not talking about, when we hear the word renunciation, we think about monasticism. We think about monks. But nekkhamma is not talking about right thought is to become a monastic. Nekkhamma is talking about right thought is to let go. Practice letting go. Practice giving up. All right, whether that's your third cup of coffee for the day, or the lay life. It's all about practicing letting go. That's what it's about. All right, so don't misconstrue this. This is thoughts of, instead of thoughts of grasping and clinging and attaching, we want to develop, we want to build thoughts of letting go. That is nekkhamma sankappo. Then you have abhyapaja, the thoughts of goodwill, thoughts of metta, instead of thoughts of ill will and aversion. And then you have avihingsa, so instead of thoughts of harming and wanting to harm other beings or wanting beings to be harmed, thoughts of non-harming, thoughts of wishing that beings not be harmed. This is the right thought. And the number one sutta for this is Majjhima Nikaya number 19. The Buddha gives a technique, a training method on how to deal with these thoughts. Majjhima Nikaya number 19, MN 19, two kinds of thoughts. The Buddha talks about the time before he was awakened, when he was training. And he decided that he would categorize his thoughts into two types, which turns out to be thoughts of right intention or right thought, and thoughts of wrong intention or wrong thought. Thoughts of clinging, ill will and harming, or thoughts of letting go, goodwill and non-harming. And so then he said, as he was practicing diligent, ardent, and resolute, thoughts of ill will, thoughts of clinging, thoughts of harming arose in my mind. And I investigated those thoughts, and I saw that these thoughts, if I were to build these thoughts and to keep propagating these thoughts, to get wrapped up in these thoughts and to keep thinking about them, giving them the energy, well then this would lead to my harm and the harm of others. And so the Buddha says, and as I understood this, those thoughts subsided. And this is at least in my experience, this is actually quite true. Most of the time, with our negative thoughts, with our thoughts that could lead to harm, just recognizing them and letting them go leads to their retreat. Now, of course, Mara comes back from another angle. It's not permanent. You won the battle, but you didn't win the war. Those thoughts will flank around you and come this way instead of going this way. That's just normal. But you see this in the Teri and the Therigatha, the verses of the elder bhikkhus and bhikkhunis, where they're just sitting there mindful, and then Mara comes in and tempts them, and they say, "I see you, Mara," and then the words say, "Mara dejectedly goes away." right? But Mara comes back again. Right? But this is the practice. This is part of our right effort, as we'll talk about probably towards the end of the week, right? That we see these thoughts arise. We don't want to justify them. We don't want to give them energy. We don't want to propagate them because they lead to our harm and the harm of others. So we abandon them. We let them go. And the Buddha says, when thoughts arose of goodwill, of letting go, of harmlessness, then I recognized that I could abide in these thoughts for a day and a night and no harm would come. This is very important. So this is when I first read this, probably like 12 or so years ago at least, when I first read this, I was, oh, the Buddha's giving us a technique. The Buddha's giving us a training method right here. And I immediately started doing this. I started splitting my thoughts into those two, recognizing, this thought is not something I want to hold on to. If I follow through with this, it would lead to me being harmful towards myself, harmful towards others. Right? You can recognize that. It's a way of understanding your thoughts that arise. So that you understand what is thoughts that lead to benefit and what are thoughts and mental states that lead to harm. Very important skill for a meditator, for a practitioner, for a student of the path. Very important skill. This is one of the ways, this investigation is how we, when applied to all of our thoughts, all of our actions, all of our experiences, this is how we lead on to Nibbana, to awakening. So friends, today, all day, practice two kinds of thoughts, investigating your thoughts, investigating what arises in the mind, and trying to recognize, will this lead to my benefit and the benefit of others, or will it lead to my harm and the harm of others? Do this practice and develop right thought. And I will see you tomorrow for another morning monastery experience. Tonight is my premiere event. Every Monday night, 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. Dhammapalooza. Please join us here on this channel, where we have a 2-hour festival of Dhamma, including chanting and Q&A and reading suttas and community discussion and all these things. So hopefully to see you tonight or tomorrow morning for another morning monastery experience. Sukhi Hotu, may you be happy, practice well and be well. May you have a spiritually successful and peaceful day.